problem. And clearly, in looking over this paperwork, it appears to me as if you were commingling what you considered a business expense with a private debt. The IRS doesn't like that. You should know that.
I did what I could to make sure she received her interest payments in a timely manner.
Don't you make a living from this company?
Yes, I do.
Then you should have paid her. Not commingled funds. That's a very bad thing, Mr. LeGrant. With commingled funds, the IRS is going to come and get you. Can you tell me what happened that precipitated this lawsuit?
He had made his last payment in November, and in December he promised me a payment on December 20th. And I was counting on that, and it was Christmas time, and I didn't get the payment. And I had an appointment with him scheduled for the 22nd, which I was going to discuss the matter with him, and then he didn't show up for the appointment and didn't let me know.
Does he come to your house, or do you go to his
No, it's a
school?
telephone. It's a telephone.
It's a telephone?
Yes, we hardly ever see each other in person. And so I left him a voicemail saying that, you know, I think that this was unfair and I should be treated better, and at which point he sent me an email saying that he really thought that was the most mean, vicious thing anybody had ever said to him, and he really, literally never talked to me again.
What did she say on the voicemail?
She was incredibly ugly. I never finished both voicemails because it was too irate and too mean, too vicious, attacking everything she could think of and everything she knew about me. Basically, what happened in the beginning of December, I was still working with her and giving her readings. She explained to me that she lost her job, she was afraid she was going to lose the mortgage on her house, that she was in an incredibly strapped financial position. She began asking me if I could borrow money from my aunt to pay this balance off, and I explained to her that the agreement was an exchange of readings. This was not
Well, that's
alone.
not true, sir. That's not true, because there were payments made both out of the school's account and out of your personal account.
That was
to her.
interest.
That's what you say. That's not what I find. Keep going.
So she was explaining all of this to me. I explained to her that this was not the agreement, this was not what I was going to do. She pressured me for a number of weeks. She did ask me to make a payment on the 20th in December because 25th was a Sunday and also Christmas. I explained to her that I get paid on a certain date, it takes a number of days to clear the bank. I'll do the best I can to try to do that, but that may not happen. And that went in one ear, right out the other.
All right, good. Did you make a payment in January?
I did not make a payment in December.
Did you make a payment in January,
or
is my
January,
question.
or since.
Right. Why not?
Because she threatened to sue me.
She didn't sue you in January, did she?
No, she filed, actually on January 20th, I was on the way to the bank because she had left these voicemails. I wasn't sure how I was supposed to handle this situation, and I told her that I would get back to her in January.
Well, so you were sort of jerking her around.
No.
Because you didn't pay the amount in December, because you said you get paid on a certain day, and you don't know whether it'll clear and whatever. All right, so you don't pay a December 20th, you don't pay a December 23rd. There's December 27th, December 28th, December 29th, December 30th, December 31st. She doesn't hear from you until January 20th?
No, she received an email from me explaining that I felt her messages were incredibly mean and
Well,
that
show me
I
the
would...
copy. You have the email? I would like to see the copy of the email that you sent to her.
I was very angry.
People who owe money usually are angry. Okay, so they were the meanest, cruelest voice messages, and you choose to cut her off and not have anything to do with her until the holidays are over in December, because you don't want to be bothered during the holidays
Because
with
my
any
mom
bad
was in a serious
with any bad
accident.
vibrations. And I'll let you know how I plan to handle the future in January. Well, what'd you do at the beginning of January, sir? The holidays are over.
Yeah, I was thinking about how to handle the situation. I wasn't sure how to do that. The 20th was coming by in January. I decided to make
20th?
it the 20th of January.
Well, so you were thinking between January 2nd and January 20th.
That's right.
Let me hear you counterclaim, Mr. LeGrant.
After Miss Jessie complained about this December incident, she did request communication from me. I did say that I would communicate with her in January about the situation. Before I had a chance to do that, she went to my website. She scoured through all of the emails, addresses, everything she could get, and began emailing everybody from clients, students, about the situation. Very, very crazy emails.
Well, show me.
Sure. Here's one she sent to the travel agent. I'll give you all of them. And also as far as missed appointments, That has happened in the past.
I'm not interested in that. All she does is talk to whoever she talks to about the fact that you owe her money.
These are Mike's students
Who
that
cares?
she ripped off my website.
Who cares? Shouldn't have had him on your
It
website if
has
you'd
none
want.
of their business.
Listen to me. She's entitled to do that. She doesn't slander you, sir. She says that you have an honest dispute with her. She believes you owe her money, and you are not paying her the money that you owe her. She doesn't say anything scandalous about you. You may not like it, but she doesn't say anything that's actionable. Can you please explain to me how a school professing to be spiritual and ethical can attempt to steal this money loaned in good faith? That's the way she feels.
No, it wasn't a loan.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you something, sir. I am the final arbiter of that, and I'm telling you that it was a loan. It was a loan because you repaid it. And you not only repaid it, you repaid it, some of it out of your funds and some of it out of school funds, which you can't do.
That's not correct.
Listen. Some of the people that you deal with, Mr. LeGrand, may revere you as being some sort of spiritual leader. I guarantee you, I'm not one of those people. All right? I'm telling you, you went on a trip, you slept, you ate, you took a plane, not the spirits, your body took the plane to the Philippines and had a nice trip. Pay for it. Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $2,697. That's all.
Bourbon McDaniel is suing her daughter, Glenda Julius, for the cost of her granddaughter's funeral. Glenda says her mother is heartless.
Ms. McDaniel, the defendant is your daughter.
Yes, ma'am.
Your complaint is really a simple one, and your complaint is that you made 2 loans to your daughter,
Yes, ma'am.
and she has not paid you back. Your daughter says that these were not loans, they were really gifts. But the matter becomes more complicated because of the nature of the loans that you claim to your daughter. Miss Julius, you had a daughter who was murdered.
Yes, ma'am.
When was she murdered?
September 24th. She was found dead in her room,
In your home.
in our home.
Has the perpetrator of that murder ever been found?
There are 3 people apprehended as of right now for first-degree murder.
How old was your daughter? According to you, Miss McDaniel, you went to where your daughter was living, and your daughter did not have money for a burial.
That's right.
You agreed to loan her the money for the burial.
Yes, ma'am.
Subsequently, your daughter, who was not happy staying in the same house where her daughter was murdered, which is quite understandable because people had not been apprehended at that time, asked if she could relocate, and you agreed to loan her some money
Yes, ma'am.
so that she could relocate. What was the extent of those 2 sums of money? The funeral was how much?
$4,582.27.
And how much did you advance your daughter to relocate?
$1,487.68.
The matter becomes more complicated because at some point, Miss Julius, you ascertained that there was a crime victim's compensation that you could apply for.
The DA
The DA
from Carroll County
told you what?
told me that there was a victims fund relief.
And what was it for?
It was for expenses for Jessica's death. And I have been making payments.
Just a second. Expenses for Jessica's death,
Yes.
which included her burial.
Which my mother gave as a gift.
Listen to me very carefully.
Which included, yes.
So the state of Tennessee had a fund which provided for the survivors of victims of violent crime to give them money so that they could pay for burial
Yes.
and other related expenses.
Yes.
You applied for that,
Yes.
and you got a check.
Yes.
How much was the check?
One was $5,300 and the other one was $1,024.
Can I see the paperwork
Yes.
surrounding those 2 checks, please?
There was a few gas expenses.
Can I see the paperwork for the...
This is exactly what
Bert,
was
I'll take a
issued,
look
but
at
I
it.
have more different. I have receipts to where I have been paying my mother.
Just a second. They paid you $5,307.27 for the funeral. And then there are other related expenses, moving expenses. Are you telling me that you have proof that you gave some of this money to your mother?
Yes, I have.
I'd like to see it, please.
I have receipts. Here, this is it for money orders. She told me that her payments were 70 and 40. I talked to my sister Gail that's standing next to her over the telephone. She was in California. I talked to her and she said, have you been giving her money? I said, yeah. She told me 70 and 40 on her credit cards. And that's exactly, I've been giving her a little bit more.
Well, I see what you're talking about. You gave her $30, $40.
And it started on 11/3, excuse me.
I understand that, but these are very small amounts of money. When did you get the check from the state?
In April. She told me it was on credit cards, and as long as I was helping her out, there was no lump sum that I was supposed to give her. She knew I would have to go home. I have a headstone to purchase for my daughter, which is $910, and I'm working at a minimum wage job. I moved out because it was so unbearable to live with her in her house.
Let's go back a second. You got this money, which is about $6,500. What did you do with it?
I've been living on it, and also I have money set aside to buy Jessica's stone and money set aside to go home.
Well,
because
so
I cannot live.
Just a second. You just told me that the stone is $900.
$910.
Fine. And did you order it?
I've already talked to... Yes.
Don't play with it.
Yes.
Did you pay for it?
Not as of yet.
Why not?
Because she started this lawsuit.
What's the name of the company that's going to do the stone?
Memorial Gardens.
Well, you certainly have $900 for the stone because you got $6,500. And my problem with you, Miss Julius, is, because this is not a very difficult case, whether your mother said to you, as you allege in your answer, it's the least I can do to give you the money for the funeral, right? That's what she alleges you said to her, or not. The good people of the state of Tennessee did not provide this money for you to live on. The good people of the state of Tennessee wanted to ensure that your daughter had an appropriate burial. So you cannot take their money and do what you want with it. You have to take their money and pay for her funeral. That's what it was earmarked for by the state. Because whether you and your mother, according to you, you colluded to defraud the state by her signing papers that said she's going to pay me back, and she really didn't mean that you were going to pay her back, that's a fraud on the state. I can't sanction that. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm working in a dry cleaners. I'm having trouble dealing with the public.
What kind of work did you do before your daughter's death?
I was working in a convenience store, third shift.
Your mother paid for the funeral. According to the claim that you put into the criminal injuries compensation claim for Jessica Dawn Julius, the funeral was $5,307.27. That's what you told the state, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And the funeral was actually $45.82?
The difference was donations from the school where Jessica went.
What?
I have a paper that states each and every one that gave donation to funeral.
Can I see it, please?
Yes.
The family that Jessica was, Lisa Stevens' family, were there and willing, and the whole town was willing to help out with this. My mother is the one that wanted me to move. I left everything I owned.
Listen to me. I'm not talking about the moving. I'm talking about the fact that you cannot take this money and live on it. I have to make a judgment whether the person who actually paid for the funeral, and that's your mother, or you who did not pay for the funeral, are the rightful recipients of this money from the state, which is earmarked for your daughter's burial expenses. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
And there were some very nice people from the town who also sent checks in for the funeral. But that's not the issue. The issue really is a very simple one. Whether your mother, at the time that your daughter died, and I believe that she probably did, say to you, this is a terrible time. I don't want you to worry about the funeral. I'll take care of it. Because that's what a parent does. But then when you found out that there was a possibility, because you said that the district attorney told you that there was a fund, that was after your daughter was buried, correct?
Yes.
So after your mother laid out that money, and probably would not have sought to recoup it because you have limited circumstances, that'd be a fair statement. But after she found out that you were going to get this money from the state for the funeral, the right thing for you to do was to give it back to her.
I've been giving her close to $1,500.
No. That may have been fine, Miss Julius, giving her $30, giving her $70, until you got $6,500. Once you got $6,500, you had to say, Mom, clean up the credit card, pay it off, Because that's what this check was supposed to be used for.
Yes,
we
ma'am.
understand each other.
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Let's not pursue this any further. Your family has had sufficient amount of sadness to last for a lifetime. So you have the money, and even if your mother is awarded the $5,000, you still have money left over for the headstone, and then some. Right? Good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. That's all.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Robert Skelsey says ex-girlfriend Chalise Roberts owes for rent and the return of his clothes. Chalise says the money and clothes were both gifts.
Have a seat.
Thank you, Bird.
You're welcome, Judge.
Mr. Skelsey, you and Miss Roberts, according to the complaint that I've read, dated for a period of time. You claimed that you made her a loan of $250 at some point for rent. In addition, after you were no longer together, you never lived together, but you probably stayed over occasionally at her house because you claim you have some clothes at her house that she refuses to give you.
A few nights, yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Roberts says that the $250 that you gave her for her rent was a gift, and that everything in the house that was yours, you took. When did you date Miss Roberts? From when to when?
We met each other in January of this year. We met off a chat line kind of thing. We just started dating right off the bat.
You both live in the same community?
Yes, in the same area, yeah.
And when was this loan that you gave to her?
The loan was in May. She was having financial difficulties.
Tell me about the conversation that you had with her when you discovered she was in financial distress.
Actually, she asked me. She said,
No.
She did. She asked me. She goes, I'll do anything for you. Can you loan me some money? I'm having financial difficulties. I said, can you ask, one of the fathers of your children
He offered to give
do
it to
Listen
this?
to me, Miss Roberts. Don't speak again until it's your turn.
And she said that she didn't want to do it because she was scared of like a custody thing. I said, okay, I understand. I have the extra money, and I'm going to need the money back soon, but I have the money right now available to you. I said, so here's the money. I wrote it out to her landlord.
You have a copy of the check?
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to see it.
Yeah.
Chewing gum?
Yes.
Ah, you shouldn't do that.
Okay, May 23rd. Was she late in her rent?
She wasn't working because she was sick.
No,
So
no.
was she late in her rent?
No, I'm asking you. This is dated May 23rd. Was this for May's
Yes.
rent?
Yes.
So you were almost a month late in your
Yes.
rent. Okay, so that's the loan. She never paid you back.
No, ma'am.
When did you stop dating Miss Roberts?
Oh, we stopped dating in like the end of February. We became friends with like benefits kind of thing. And, I'm not one to move fast with a relationship. And her feelings moved fast with me.
So you stopped dating in February,
Yeah.
but remained friends.
Oh, yeah, close friends. Very
Good.
close.
And shortly after the loan, you stopped speaking?
Almost automatically right after the loan. She said she was busy with work and everything else, but all of a sudden a day-to-day, call or hanging out or whatever becomes, I didn't hear from her for like a week.
Okay. And what clothes do you have at her house, Mr.
Nike
So-
sweatshirt, a Champion sweatshirt, and a Nike pair of shorts.
Okay. You're not going to bother me with those things, are you? You know how many years I went to school? Do you know how many years? A lot of years. You don't
More
think
than
I'm
me.
going to be bothered by your Nike sweatshirt or Nike sneaker, whatever it is that you're just talking about?
I value my clothes.
Yeah, good. Shouldn't have left them at her house.
I thought I could trust her.
Listen to me. This is not a give and take.
All right.
Do
Sorry.
you understand?
Mm-hmm.
We're not on an equal footing.
Okay.
I will discuss this alleged loan.
I also have a proof on a tape recorder.
That
She admits to borrowing the money. I got it off my answering machine.
I'm going to hear it.
Right now?
Now's the time.
2:02 p.m. You are out of your mind if you think you're going to be taking me to court and thinking you're going to invest $100 more than what you let me borrow for clothes? Come on now, Rob. It's ridiculous. There's clothes that you gave me to see what the you get out of me, all right? You want to do it this nasty way? I'm going to be a nasty and do it evil too.
There is a way to communicate, Miss Roberts, that doesn't involve profanity. You do understand that?
Yes.
Now, how old are you, madam?
26.
And how many children do you have?
I have 4.
And how many fathers do your 4 children
2.
have? 2 for the youngest, 2 for the oldest?
No, she told me. Sorry.
How old are your children?
9, 8, 6, and 5.
Okay. Why did you run short of money?
Because I was out of work, I was sick.
What was the matter with you?
I had strep and mono.
For how long?
for 2 weeks.
So what did you say to the plaintiff?
We were friends. I cried to him that I was late in rent. He offered to give me the money. At first, I said I didn't want to, and then like a week later, I mentioned it again, how I was stressed out, and
No,
he
you didn't
offered
mention it again. That's not a mention. First, you told him, you cried, offered you the money, you said no. Okay, then it's over. You say no.
Right.
But then a week later, what did you say to him?
Then I was crying again, stressed out that I was behind, and then he offered again. And then I said
didn't
yes.
offer you ass.
Shh, 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 shh. Remember what I said to her?
I did. Sorry.
So he helped you out with the rent.
Yes.
And then you went back to work.
Yes.
So why don't you pay him back?
Because then I got threatened with court.
Can I explain?
Well, just a second.
And it wasn't a loan to begin
Just a
with.
second. You know you have to pay rent. Miss Roberts, listen to me. Rent isn't something that comes up and bites you on the behind like a surprise. You know the first of every month you have to pay rent, right?
Yes.
This isn't an unexpected medical bill, an unexpected bill because your generator broke in your car, an unexpected bill because the brakes went dead. This is a set bill, you know. $250 for rent.
Your Honor, can I explain something?
Yes.
She said she was going to pay me on a certain day. I didn't get a phone call. I tried calling her 1,000,000 times in one day. I went to her house, not trying to harass, but, you know, make good on the deal. We're friends. Why are you going to avoid me? And then she tells me that she's stiffing her landlord because she wants to get out of her lease. So what makes her think she ain't going to stiff me?
Just a second. What do you mean she was stiffing her landlord? What
She
is that?
doesn't even live at her current address.
Yes, I do.
Well, you told me you were going to stiff your landlord, and your
How
phone
do you,
got
but
shut
listen
off.
to me, did she explain that to you, sir? How she was going to stiff her landlord just by not paying him rent?
Said that she wanted to get out of the lease, and the only way she could get out of it is by not paying her rent.
So then
I'm
why
still
did you
at
give
my
her 200?
address.
Shh. Then why did you give her $250?
Because she didn't have the money for rent, and her landlord said she'd get thrown out on the street, and I did it for the kids. I didn't do it for her.
All right, Miss Roberts, was he annoying you after you stopped taking his phone calls?
He wasn't annoying me. We were still really good friends. And we went for a walk one time. I do long walks to exercise. He came with me, and he asked me how come I haven't talked to him really, how come I seem so distant. And I told him because I was kind of seeing someone else, and he got mad.
Oh, that's a lie.
Shh. Just
I knew you were, though.
Just
Oh, you were dirty.
listen to me. If you open your mouth again, I'm going to say goodbye. Do you
Okay.
understand?
Yeah. Wow.
Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am. You got to understand, please. I'm sorry.
Miss Roberts, I want you to pay very careful attention to me. My sense is that you've made a certain amount of mistakes in your life. I think based on your history that that's a fair statement. You have 4 children, only 2 of them live with you. You got yourself in a financial pickle to the extent that you couldn't pay rent at your age with 4 children. That suggests to me that you've made certain tactical errors in your life.
No, I don't think so.
Well, from a more mature perspective, I'm telling you that if you have a 9-year-old child and you're 26 years old, then you've made certain mistakes in your life. You have to
It's
wait
not a
until you
mistake
grow
just
up.
because I had a
You have
young-
to wait until you grow up to have children. Otherwise, you have 2 children who don't live with you. Now,
That's not even
what
an
you
issue.
don't want to do is make another mistake. Uncross your arms.
I'm sorry.
He can be a problem. I want you to take that from somebody who has been around people for a very long time in this circumstance, and I'm telling you that if pushed, he can be a problem. So what you have to do is you have to say, do I want another problem in my life? Do I want this man angry with me, lives close by, I have a new relationship? Do I want him to have any connection to me that I can avoid? If not, and the only thing that's holding us together is a $250 rent check and a Champion sweatshirt, I can either have peace or I can have grief. And if you're a mature 26-year-old, you say, $250? Price of peace? It's well worth it. Do you
The only
understand?
payment he
do you
wanted back was sex
Listen to me.
for that money.
Do you
That's all.
understand?
That's all he
Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Does that make sense to you? For $250 and a Champion sweatshirt, I can have peace, or I can have him annoyed with me, feel as if he's been used, feel as if he's been taken, feel as if he's been abused, feel as if he's been made a fool of.
I did all the work there, too.
So,
Sorry. Not ever again.
do you understand what I mean? He can't control himself.
Oh, I know.
That's what you want?
No.
You're an idiot if that's what you want. So I'm going to help you along. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $250. That's all.
Parties are excused.
Nina Taylor is suing 25-year-old Amanda White for taking back a 1998 Ford Contour she donated to her. Amanda claims Nina misappropriated the donation.
Ms. White, according to what I read, you gave Crystal a car.
Yes.
So you gave it to her.
Yes, ma'am.
As a gift.
Yes, ma'am.
When you gave Crystal the car, her mother invested money to have the car fixed. Then, according to Ms. Taylor, you took the car back.
Yes, ma'am.
And she wants the money that she invested in the car because you took the car back. So now I have to figure this out. Which one of you two ladies is Crystal?
Me.
Crystal, stand up next to your mom. When did you give Crystal the...
Late July.
What kind of car was it?
A Ford Contour.
What year?
98.
How many miles did it have on it?
Approximately 200,000.
Okay, so it didn't have much value to it.
No.
And why did you give her the car?
The whole purpose, I paid the car off, and I said that when I get a new one, my whole point of not trading the car in was to give it away to somebody who was in need when I
Fine,
found
so you
that
gave it to
person.
Crystal?
Yes.
And how did you know her?
We worked together.
Why did you take it back?
We were waiting for a title to the car because I had a lien. I had trouble getting the title because of the lien. Miss Taylor contacted me right before I got the title, and she told me that she was suing me. She did not want the title at that point. She wanted the money that she says that she put into it. So I told her that I wanted receipts and I wanted to verify with my mechanic.
You have the car?
Yes.
You just give it back to Crystal.
That's not true.
Just a second. Listen to me. Perhaps Miss White didn't understand, so I have to explain the law to you. When you give a gift, you cannot give a gift with tentacles. You don't have the right to say, well, I'm giving it to you because I want to give it to somebody who's needy. But then if you do something with it that I don't like, I'm going to take it back.
Well, it's the whole idea that I was being sued. If I'm being sued for $2,000, prove it. She didn't want it.
Very
good. She didn't want the car. She didn't want the title. I told her I have the title.
Oh, fine. Well, just give her the. Just listen to me. Just give her the title.
I would at the door, at her door.
Wait a second.
I went to her door and told her I
Perfect.
had it.
No, that's not true.
Yes, it is.
Just a second. Listen to me very carefully. You're not entitled to any money. You're entitled to the car. Period. End of discussion. Do you understand? My question is now, do you want, Miss Taylor, this is your lawsuit, do you want the car?
No.
Then your case is dismissed.
Why is that, Judge?
Because you are not entitled to the money. You fixed up the car. You're entitled to the car that she gave you. It was a gift. It was an unconditional gift. She gave it out of her heart because she wanted to give it to somebody who needed a car. You took it upon yourself to fix the car. You fixed it. You invested money in it.
But the car wasn't free. The title wasn't free. She just
It is now free. Is
She
that
just
right?
got it free and
I
clear.
have
She
a
didn't have it in
title.
August.
Now she has the title free and clear. Do you want the car or nothing? Do you want the car or nothing?
The car, I mean, I put money into the car. I mean,
Do you want the car or nothing?
car.
Good. Take out the title. You'll take care of signing it over to Miss Taylor. Fine?
That's fine.
Good. Bird, have him sign over the title, please.
Okie dokie.
Perfect. Is the car at your home, Miss White?
Yes.
Okay. When do you want Miss Taylor to pick it up, or Crystal?
Anytime.
Fine. You're a doll, Miss White. You're a nice person. It
Thank
was a
you.
nice gesture.
Thank you.
This case stands for the proposition that no good deed goes unpunished. That's all. Thank you.
We've heard that
That's
all
all.
week.
18-year-old Monica Vasquez claims ex-boyfriend Lendon Trujillo owes for kicking her car and smashing it with trash cans. Monica also claims Lendon destroyed her cell phone.
You are?
Lydia Calderon, Monica's mother.
Okay, but you don't know anything about this case particularly, do you?
No.
Except that the car belonged to you.
Belongs to both of us.
Are you both on the title?
Yes.
Why don't you sit down for a moment? You're Monica?
Yes.
This was your boyfriend?
Yes.
How long was he your boyfriend?
For about 3 years.
Monica, you say that he broke your cell phone and vandalized your car.
Yes.
He says he didn't do it. So tell me when he vandalized your car.
It was like about 1:30, and he showed up at my house.
1:30
in the
on what
morning.
On what date?
July 28th.
Where were you?
I was at home.
Who else was at home?
My sister.
It was 1:30 a.m. Do you live with your sister?
Yes, I do.
What does your sister do for a living?
She works at Premier Real Estate. She's
And
a
what do you do?
receptionist.
What do you do?
I'm a cashier.
Where?
At Rite Aid.
How long have you been working there?
In October, it'll be a year.
Mr. Trujillo,
Yes.
what do you do for a living, sir?
I'm a tattoo artist.
You work for yourself?
Yeah, pretty much.
What does that mean?
I'm not working at a shop right now.
So where do you work from?
Out of my house.
Are you licensed?
No.
Do you have to be licensed where you live?
No.
Where do you live?
I live in California.
And in California, you don't need a license to give somebody a tattoo with
No,
a
you
needle?
don't.
That's a big mistake, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you need a license to give somebody a pedicure,
Yeah.
but not to give somebody a tattoo.
No.
You
Not.
sure about that?
I'm positive about that.
Anyway, you make a living at this?
Yeah.
Well, especially since you have no overhead.
What's that? No. What? No. What? No.
Overhead.
Overhead? Oh, okay. Yeah, that was over my head. Sorry.
Unfortunately, Mr. Trujillo, that was true.
Right. Sorry about that.
All right, Miss Vasquez, why don't you tell me about what happened on the 28th of July?
Okay, he showed up at my house and he knocked on my window. I came out of my room and I went to the garage because he went around the house. And I had told him to leave because my sister did not want him around her house.
Why did he come there?
He was...
He said you called him.
No, I did not call him.
You say in your papers, sir, that you went over to the house at 1:30 on July 28th because she called you.
Yeah, we had been talking.
No. Because she called you on July 28th. That's
Okay.
why you said you went over there, right?
Right.
And how did she call you? On your cell phone?
Yeah.
Do you have your cell phone records?
No. I'm sure if I went and got them, I could bring them back to you. I mean, if you wanted to, another
We
date
don't
or
do
something.
do-overs here, Mr. Trujillo. What we do is, when you're coming to court, you're supposed to be prepared. You know what it's like, Mr. Trujillo? You do tattooing
Yeah.
in your house.
Right.
Let's say you made an appointment with somebody who's going to get a really big tattoo. They were going to pay a whole lot of money
Yeah.
for the tattoo. And let's say they arrived and they sat down for you to do the tattoo and you forgot to buy ink.
Right. Yeah, it's happened a couple times.
That's what it's like, Mr. Trujillo, when you come here without evidence.
Yeah, I understand.
With just your good looks and tattoo. That's what happens. You're supposed to bring evidence, bring proof. So we have no proof that she called you to arrive at her house
Right.
1:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And so you went outside and you told him to disappear.
Yes.
And what happened?
And by that time, my sister had came out because she heard the knock because our rooms are right next door. And she had went out and told him to leave her house because she was going to call the
police.
Because the incident with the phone.
Oh, so the incident with the phone happened first?
Yes.
And that happened about a month before?
Yes.
Why don't you tell me what happened?
Okay, I was at work, and I get out of work at 10, and he showed up at my work, so I left.
Had you not been seeing each other?
No.
Right.
And I left my work, and he followed me down the street, and he was telling me to pull over, and he was next to me in my car. And so I pulled over because he was coming closer to my car, and he had said that if I didn't pull over, he would go to my house and, like, break windows. And so I pulled over, and he had got my phone to check it for what, I don't know, we weren't together. And I was telling him to give me back my phone, and he was like, "You want your phone?" So he cracked it in half and gave it to me. And so...
Had he been drinking?
Yes, he had a beer in his car.
Who else was in the car?
He was by himself that night.
You got to get a job out of the house, Mr. Trujillo.
Okay.
Listen to me, sir. First, I want you to tell me who these people are that you brought with you to court today.
I brought my dad to court with me today and my brother Fabian. This is my dad, Johnny, and Fabian and Silo.
Yeah, and you all live together?
No.
Do you live alone?
No, I live with my uncle.
Why?
Because my dad has recently moved, and he had moved in with someone else, and there wasn't enough room, so I actually went to live with my uncle.
And where does your brother live?
With his grandpa.
How old are you?
I'm 18.
How old is your brother?
19.
Who did your father move in with?
His girlfriend.
Was there a time you were all living together?
At one time, yeah.
When was the last time you lived together with your father?
About 2 months ago, I lived with my dad in Visalia.
And your brother also lived with your father?
No. My brother has always lived with his grandpa in Tulare.
Did you break her phone?
No, ma'am, I didn't.
Well, tell me what happened, Mr. Trujillo.
Me and Monica had been seeing each other before this incident with the cell phone happened. We had been talking, and we had been texting each other, and she had told me that she got out of work at 10 o'clock, and that if I wanted to see her after work. And I said, okay, cool. I had the car, so I said, okay, I'll meet you at Taco Bell. So we went, and we met at Taco Bell parking lot, and we were there. Everything was fine. We were talking, hugging. Everything was cool. And then a call comes through on my phone. And when a call comes through on my phone, it was a ringtone, as, you know, the ringtones, like I know you've heard them, like the lovey-dovey ringtones, like the, You know what I mean? Like the guy and girl together ringtones. You know what I'm talking about or no? Like, I mean, I could sing one.
Special song or something.
Like, I mean, I could sing one for you. If you want me to sing one. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, at the time when that had happened, we were both kind of looking at each other because I was already like, okay, you know, something's wrong, I messed up. So Monica had...
Yeah.
Yeah, so at that time, Monica had snatched my phone out of my hand. And when that had happened, she snatched my phone, and I reached for it back. We kind of got into an argument, a little conflict, you know what I mean? And
Who was calling you, Mr. Trujillo?
just a friend.
Boyfriend or a girlfriend?
It was a girlfriend.
The timing was really terrible.
Yeah, it wasn't expected.
It was messed up.
Yeah, it was at the right time. So when that had happened, I was leaning up against my car, and Monica had thrown my phone at me. But when she had thrown my phone at me, somehow, and you can tell she has little hands. I don't know how she had both phones in her hand, but when she had thrown it at me, my phone rolled over the car, the hood of the car, and her phone hit my car and broke. However it broke, it was snapped in half, and that's basically what happened.
When he met you at Taco Bell, had you told him that you were going to be out of work at 10 o'clock?
No, he called my work around 10, and he said, I was around the corner. He goes, I'll be there right now. And I was like, I'm going home, I'm leaving. And at that point, my boss had opened the doors to let me leave earlier than everybody else, because I had told him. And when I got in my car to leave, he was already at the corner, and that's when he just followed me.
You think if I called her boss would say that they opened the door and let her out a little early?
No, I don't.
You don't think so?
No, I don't.
What's your boss's name?
David Centeno.
Give me his number.
It's my phone, and my phone is out there.
The Rite Aid number, 67816. There you go.
7816? Now, Mr. Trujillo,
Yes, ma'am.
I want you to listen to me very carefully.
Okay.
When somebody tells me it's,
Uh-huh.
I tend to disbelieve everything that they say, especially when I have to get my rather sizable keister off this chair and go in the back to make a telephone call. Do you understand?
Oh, yes.
Now, I am prepared to do that.
Okay.
Unless you want to revise your version of the cell phone events.
No, ma'am. No, not at all.
Okay, so let's call Mr. David, because he doesn't have any clue that I might be calling him. He is going to tell me whether or not he let her out early because you were going to come over.
Right.
Okay. Let's see.
Okay.
Yes, is David Centeno there, please? David, this is Judge Judy Scheindlin. How are you? Good, thank you. David, I have a question for you. I'm here trying a case with Monica Vasquez. And I want you to think back to sometime around the end of June of this year, in the evening when she was leaving. There was an incident with her boyfriend when he called the store. Do you remember that? Could you tell me what happened, please, David? Mm-hmm. Okay. Wonderful. David, you're a very, very nice man for speaking to me. I appreciate you taking the time. Thank you. Bye-bye. Boss is a very nice gentleman. Mr. Trujillo, I suggest you spend a little less time tattooing and piercing yourself and a little more time honing your truthful skills, sir. Honing your truthful skills. Ask your father what that means. Honing your truthful skills, sir.
Oh, okay.
Because Mr. Centeno says that he remembers the evening very well. You would call the store. You said, I'm going to get down there before the store closes. They let her leave early, and they stood there to watch her get in her car and take off before you got there because she had already broken up with you, and she was afraid about what was going to happen if you got there.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
So now I believe very little, sir, of what you're going to tell me. So now he owes you a cell phone. Now I want you to tell me what happened when he vandalized your car.
Okay, that was the night he showed up at my window.
That's correct.
Okay.
And you came out, you told him to leave. Sister came out, and you told him to leave. And I understand that there were other people with him.
His father and his brother.
Two geniuses.
Yes. And they were all drinking.
Two geniuses. Well, they can't live together, so at least they can drink together. I guess that's what family's all about. Go ahead.
And my sister had told his dad to keep him away from her house. And his dad didn't really understand what was happening because Lyndon didn't let him know about the night with the cell phone. So he didn't understand why my sister was...
I think if there wasn't a cell phone, his father wouldn't have understood. Go ahead.
So after that, my sister had told him she was going to call the cops and get a restraining order on him. And at that time, Lyndon was mad because his dad had told me, well, then I don't want her calling him or at my house. And I had said, I haven't called your son and I haven't been to your house. And at that time, Lyndon had got mad and they were drinking. So he kind of like pushed my sister. And at that time, when he got angry, my sister ran to the house to call the cops. And at that time, I had ran back to the house too because he was still mad. And he followed me to the garage door on the side of the house. And when I closed the door and locked it, I could feel him trying to open it. He just went to the front of the garage where my car was parked, and I heard a loud noise. And at that time, I had lifted the garage door up because my sister had came out, and we seen him leave the side of my car and get into his dad's car, and the two trash cans were against my car, laying against my car.
You have pictures of
Yes,
the car?
I do.
I'd like to take a look at it. Outrageous. When did you purchase this car?
Last year in November.
Bought it yourself?
My mom helped me.
Who pays for it?
I do.
Paid the insurance too?
Mm-hmm.
Stand up next to him. You came here, you might as well stand up here.
Monica Vasquez says ex-boyfriend Lyndon Trujillo owes for vandalizing her car and for destroying her cell phone.
What were you doing out with your son at 1:30 in the morning?
We had went to the club.
What club?
El Presidente.
What were you doing at the club?
Dancing.
And drinking?
I was, yes.
With whom?
Females.
All different kinds?
Pretty much, yeah.
So if you were dancing and drinking with a whole bunch of females, you weren't watching what your two sons were doing?
Actually, he was on his cell phone the whole time we were there, text messaging and back and forth. And I went to him and asked him, who are you texting? And he said, Monica. So
And that's what he said to you?
Yeah.
That's what he said to you, but you don't know that that's true.
No, but
If I may, Your Honor?
Yeah.
The day before the cell phone incident had occurred,
Yeah.
she came to my house, and my dad was coming up from work, and she was coming downstairs. I was walking her down to her car. And that's why I don't understand really how it could go from her being upstairs in my house and me and her being together in a relationship or working things out, and then to...
Well, were you working things out, or were you in a relationship, sir?
No, we're working things out to be in a relationship.
So what did you go there at 1:30 in the morning for?
Because we had been texting each other. We had been texting and talking to each other, and...
Did she invite you there?
Yeah, I had her on speakerphone because I was the designated driver.
Yeah, she had told him.
Yeah, she was in the car. She knew that the speakerphone wasn't on.
That her sister was asleep, the kids were gone, for him to go over there and visit to see her.
And what were you going to do?
I just sat in the car because I was drinking.
You, and what about him?
He was in the back seat.
So the two of you were just going to sit there in the back seat of the car,
Well,
in the
actually,
front seat
yeah.
of the car, while he went inside to visit with his girlfriend?
They didn't go inside. They stayed outside in the driveway.
Fine. So he goes over to see Monica, and how did her car get dented?
When we got there, Monica had stepped outside. She was walking towards her car. We pulled up, and she went like this, like waved us over there. We all three got out of the car, walked over. She showed us a dent on her car and said that she had got into an accident with a motorcyclist. And me and her made a few comments back and forth because I had just recently wrecked my Harley. And I had told her, you know, so anyways, we said a few statements back and forth. And then me and Fabian went back and got back in the car. They stayed there talking, hugging, kissing until Marie came outside. And Monica flipped the whole script when Marie came outside because she was upset.
Were you at his house the day before?
No, I was not.
Yeah, you was.
No, I was not.
Yeah, you was.
No, I was not.
When you send a text message, could you save those things?
They stay for 14 days.
Huh?
You can lock them.
Save them, right?
Yes, you can.
Show me.
Your Honor, I don't have my phone with me. I don't have any proof right now, Your Honor, so it's...
Why don't you, sir?
Because I came unprepared. I came on intentions of knowing that what I know is true.
Is everything that you said just now as truthful as you went over to the store the end of June, invited by her to come over to the store?
What, to her store, Rite Aid?
Yeah.
No, I didn't go to Rite Aid.
Oh, no.
No, I said I went to Taco Bell. I drove to Taco Bell. She was at Rite Aid when we had talked on her.
Why would you think, Mr. Trujillo, that she would say to her boss, concerned, I just want to get out of here before he comes over, and the boss distinctly remembers all all the employees watching her get into the car to make sure she was safe and leave.
But I wasn't in her parking lot, though.
I don't care whether you were in a parking lot or not, sir. Why
I
do you
thought
think that boss would remember that?
Oh, yeah, no, boss, no. I'm not saying that. She got in her car, but I'm saying what I'm trying to tell you, though, is that I did not go into her parking lot.
No, what you said, Mr. Trujillo, was that you had an appointment to meet in Taco Bell.
Yeah.
And that, sir, is a lie. That, sir, is a lie.
That we met in Taco Bell?
It is a lie that you had an appointment to meet at Taco Bell. Because when she heard from you, she asked her boss if she could take off because she was concerned about her safety. They all watched her leave.
Then why would she have pulled into Taco Bell if she knew that she could have got away from me?
I don't know what you were doing, sir. And I don't know what your drunken father was doing or your drunken brother was doing on the night this happened with the car. I have no clue. All I know is, sir, you lied to me once, and you also don't know the law in the jurisdiction where you live because you're required to have a license to tattoo. Sir.
Okay.
And what is your address?
My address right now?
Where you're doing the tattooing?
In a house. On
What is the address?
I don't know my address. I just know it's on Bradley Street. I've only been there like a month, 2 months, so I don't know the address. I don't get mail there.
Did you make more than 3 children or
Only
just 3?
Only 3.
Only 3. So far you got 2 losers, right? 1,
I don't consider
2.
them losers, but
Well, so far they haven't done anything to make you proud.
sure they have.
I don't see
They
it.
graduated high school. That made me proud.
My God. My God, that's like the 8th wonder of the world.
That's an accomplishment in this family.
That's right.
I'm sorry.
You got to do something with it once you graduate from high school.
Yes, I totally agree.
So pleased that you agree with
I
me.
am.
I've been looking forward all year for a person of your stature to agree with me. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $950. That's all. Goodbye.
Store owner Daniel Alvarez is suing his customer, Carmen Burgos, for cashing a counterfeit check at his store. Carmen says she was the victim of an internet scam.
Mr. Alvarez, what kind of store do you have, sir?
I have a general store. We sell music, we cash checks, we sell satellite. It's a little bit of everything.
The defendant was a customer of yours?
A regular customer. She had been there at least 4 or 5 occasions cashing checks.
And you charge a fee for that?
Yes, we do.
According to your complaint, sir, she came in with a check, which you cashed for her.
Correct.
And it turned out to be a bad check.
Yes.
And your bank withdrew the money from your account. You want her to compensate you for the check.
That is correct.
Ms. Burgos says it was a bad check. She was conned with this check, and she's sorry that you're out the money, but it's not her fault. It's the fault of the people who scammed her. That's her defense. Is that correct?
Yes,
Ms.
Your
Burgos?
Honor. I
All
shouldn't
So
be
I
held
want you to
liable
tell
for it.
What?
I shouldn't be held liable for it because I had
Ms.
the
Burgos.
evidence. Yes.
Let's start from the beginning. Where did you get this check from?
It was mailed to me.
From an employer?
No, I'm always on the computer and I'm always filling out sweepstakes and filling out numbers for lotto and that. So when I received the check...
So you received the check because you thought you won a prize?
Yes, correct.
But she didn't tell me that, Your Honor. I'm sorry.
Don't interrupt her.
I'm sorry.
Your Honor, he wasn't there at the moment.
Listen to me.
Yes.
You got a check in the mail and you didn't know where it came from.
Correct. Yes, I thought
so
it was
you thought
a
maybe
sweepstakes.
that you had played around with on the computer?
Yes, correct.
You have a copy of the letter?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to take a look at it.
Well, I have a copy because I gave Mr. Alvarez the original and the envelope that it came in.
Shh. Mr. Alvarez, I don't want you to interrupt her.
That's the original. That is the original. Cool.
And I also gave him the envelope it came in.
Now, this letter says that you won the North American Ballot Sweepstakes.
Correct.
And it tells you to call Debbie Baum in Canada.
Yes, Your Honor, and that's who I called.
Just for my own information, when you called her, what is it that you claim she said to you?
Well, I called her because at first I like... Well,
Joe, tell me. Just answer my question.
I asked her about that I had received a check for a sweepstake for the sum of $2,900. And she told me yes, and I told her, well, it says here for processing. She goes, oh, no, that's no problem. You could go ahead and change. That's part of what you have won. There's 72 people that are in with it.
I read the letter.
too.
There's 72 people that are going to share in $1.8 million.
Right, and that's just the beginning of it, so you could go ahead and cash it.
Cash
so
it.
that's right.
Fine.
I went to
Do you have
Mr.
a copy of the check?
Yes, I have
I'd
the
like
original.
to see it. Oh, you have the original?
Yes.
Love
the bank
to see
returned it to me.
Love to see it. Shh. So you took the check into him?
Yes, correct.
To cash?
Yes. Like I've taken other checks.
State Employees Credit Union of Maryland, Inc. Well, I have to tell you, this certainly looks like, to my untrained eye, an official kind of check.
Correct. That's why I went to him and I
Right.
cashed it.
Ms. Burgos, I got it. You thought you woke up and it was your lucky day.
Yes, correct.
Bird, take a look at this. An interesting looking check. Right?
Oh, it even says official check.
It even says
Correct.
official
That's
check.
why I never-
And, just a minute, and they don't even ask you to do anything, like
Correct.
send them
That's
back
why-
half in this letter.
That's why I was like...
Don't, I'm speaking. Don't bother me. They don't even ask you to send back half. You know, sometimes say, send us $500 as a processing fee, and they just said, here's your $2,900.
Does it back?
Yeah. She signed it, and it came back that it was suspected counterfeit. In any event, you gave her the money.
Yes, I did.
You have proof of that?
Just from the bank when they took the money out because...
I'd like to see it. Now, when you were notified by the bank,
Right.
yeah, they charged your account for $29.50.
Correct.
Okay. Now, when did you cash the check for her? On what date?
Around the 14th of November.
And the bank returned the check to you when?
They didn't return it until the 20th or 21st, but they notified me 2 days later. First
So
they
on the
notified me.
16th.
Correct.
And when did you
I'm sorry, Your Honor,
notify?
it was after that.
Stop talking out. This is not a tea party. Now, when did you notify Ms. Burgos?
That same day.
On the 16th, 2
Exactly.
days later.
Exactly.
How did you notify her?
I called her son-in-law because I know her son-in-law very well, and I called him up and I asked him to bring her over.
And when did he bring her over?
That same day.
On the 16th?
Exactly.
Okay, now tell me on the 16th what you said to her. And what she
I
said
told
to
her, Miss Burgos, this check has returned counterfeit from the bank.
And she said to you?
I didn't know. And she produced this letter.
Good.
Correct. I said I
Just-
didn't know.
So why didn't you return the money to him?
At the moment, I didn't have the money. I had paid some of debts that I had.
Just
So
a second. What difference does that make to him? Put your hand down. First of all, it's 2 days later.
It's not 2 days later, Your Honor. It was more than 2 days
How
later.
many days?
It was about 4 or 5 days later.
4 days. Show me what debts you paid.
Well, I had some medical bills that I had to pay, so I went
Just a
ahead.
second. So you paid your medical
Sure.
bills.
I
Medical
was
bills.
like-
What else? What else
I
did you
paid
pay?
my electric bill, my phone bill, all my bills, and I
Now,
had
let me
a
ask
few-
you this question, Ms. Burgos. Before you came into this cash windfall, how did you pay your electric bill?
Well, I would pay it monthly.
From what?
From what I receive and also
What do you
my
mean from what you
children's-
receive? I don't understand that statement. Do you
Well,
work?
I get a Social Security check every month.
For what?
For disability.
What's the nature of your disability?
For asthma, arthritis.
You have asthma and arthritis and you can't work?
No.
I know a lot of people who have asthma and arthritis who can work just fine.
I was back problems. I was diagnosed with disability. So I...
Wait, just a second. When were you diagnosed with a disability from asthma and arthritis?
2 years ago.
Ms. Burgos, I'm believing less and less of what you tell me, madam, but I will tell you this. If you paid your bills, which you are responsible for paying, your medical bills, your electric bill, your phone bill, and I don't care what other kind of bills you paid, allegedly, and I know
And
you're
also I
lying.
bought
Listen
a
to me,
few-
and I know you're lying anyway.
No, I bought
Listen
a few
to me.
Christmas
Listen to me
presents,
very
yes.
carefully, and I know you're lying anyway. Then you have to pay him back the money.
Correct.
You paid your bills. You paid your bills. You're a scammer.
She told me
Let me
right
ask you this question. Who do you live with?
I live with my son and my daughter.
How old are they?
My daughter's 22 and my son is 19.
And what does your daughter do for a living?
She works. And my son
And your
also.
son?
He works.
Works.
They're the ones that help me with all the bills.
Because you don't work?
Yes.
Because of your asthma?
Yes.
She didn't tell me that. That day when she came in, she told me that she had only spent about $500 to $700
No, I told you that's
of the
what I
money.
had.
Miss
I had
Burgos!
500
Miss
to
Burgos!
I
$700.
asked her specifically.
That's what I
I'm
told
so-
him I had.
Did you give it to him?
No,
Just
he told me.
shh, shh. So why did you spend that money instead of giving it back to him?
Well, I didn't have it on me at that time.
Why didn't you go home and get
Because
it?
The gentleman told me, Mr. Alvarez told me that he was going to send that letter, the letter from that they had
That is
received
not
to
true.
the bank. Yes, it is, Mr. Alvarez.
Just
that
a second.
he was going
So
to take
what?
that
If
letter
there's a
to
question,
the
listen
bank.
to me. If there's a question, why didn't you say, listen, if there's a question and if this check was bad, I don't want Mr. Alvarez to be out the rest of this money. I'm going to hold what I haven't spent and give it to him if he's out of pocket.
Well, I had held it. I had it.
So
and
why
when-
didn't you give it to him?
Because when I spoke to Mr. Alvarez on the phone, I told him I have the $500. He says, no, I want all the money. That's what he said.
That is
and I
true.
says, well, I don't have all the money at the moment, okay? I could give you at least $500 at a time. He said, no, I want all the money at the same time.
You want to know something? You're a scammer.
It was-
You've been scamming
no.
Social Security in all probability for the
No,
last
I
2
haven't.
years.
I
don't know
haven't.
how you got Social Security disability. How old are you?
I'm 47.
47. I know people who are 67 with asthma, they work.
Oh, I am disabled.
You must have had a
It was-
really, really fine lawyer. You owe him $2,950, Miss Burgos. You were a scammer, and you knew you did the wrong thing as soon as he told you that check came back.
Yes.
People very rarely get windfalls of money from the internet. Very rarely.
not a
Don't look like this to me.
I'm
I
not a
don't
scammer
know.
because
I don't know
that
how I
letter
got
had
Social
said-
Security disability. I don't know where I got this check from. I don't know. Well, now you know that this man who was doing you a favor cashed your check and got penalized because of your stupidity. He got penalized. But you said, listen, I got the money. Let him go after the people.
I
Let him
told
go
him
after.
not to
I'm
spend the money.
speaking.
No, I didn't.
Let
tell
him go
I
after
didn't
the
think
people.
That way. I did not think that way.
Well, then
I
you
did
should
not
have
think
returned
that
the
way.
money that you hadn't spent.
Okay, I did not. He didn't want the money that I had not spent.
So you spent
All
the
he
rest.
said-
Just a
no,
second. Hey,
I still have the $500.
supposed to set an example, Miss Burgos, for your children. You're not supposed to be a scammer.
I'm not
And
a scammer.
yes, you are. Yes, you are. And you believed in getting something for nothing.
No, I
And
have
you put
never
him in a
believed
very
that getting
precarious
nothing for
position.
nothing.
You've got a lot of nerve.
I have never.
You've got a
believed
lot
that
of
I would
nerve.
get
Your children
something for
should
nothing.
not. Your children are not going to be proud of you after today. Judging for the plaintiff in the amount of $29.50. That's all. Step out.
Jason Massey claims next-door neighbor Sandra Moten damaged his SUV when she backed out of her driveway.
Mr. Massey, you and the defendant share a common driveway. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And according to your complaint, on the 30th of October, you were watching out the window of your house and you saw the defendant backing out of her driveway. Your car was parked there, and she hit your car with the mirror of her car. Is that right?
That's correct.
What time of the day was this?
4 in the afternoon.
And you and the defendant have had difficulties in the past. Is that right?
That's correct.
How long have you lived in your house?
I purchased my house in May of 2001.
And how long have you lived there?
1989.
What was the problem, Mr. Massey?
When I purchased my house in May of 2001, the lady I purchased my house from warned me that they
Don't
had...
tell me what they warned you. That's hearsay.
Yes, ma'am. The problem, Your Honor, before my truck was hit, 5 weeks in a row, when I came home from work, my trash can was knocked over. I came home one day, I picked my trash can up. My neighbor, Mrs. Moten, came home and turned my trash can over again. I asked her why she turned my trash can over for the last 5 weeks. She said it was in her way. On Sunday, October the 28th, I had been outside in the front working on a home project. The defendant came home. We had a few words. I went in.
What did you say to her and what did she say to you?
The defendant came home that day and she said that I had some chairs on the fence. She asked me to move them. I went around back. I moved the chairs off the fence. When I came back, I was standing and looking out of the front door. My neighbor, Mrs. Moten, got in her car. She was backing out. She got close to my truck. She didn't hit it. She pulled forward.
Well, that's the same day. You
Right.
said that was on the 28th or the 30th?
On the 30th.
And Ms. Moulton, you say you did not do that.
Yes, that is correct.
But Mr. Massey, you say you have a video that shows that she did.
Yes, ma'am, I do.
I'd like to see it. Did you know he had a video, Ms. Moulton?
From the officer indicated he had a video that around about 9:30 when the officer came to my home.
That is you getting into your car, is it not, Ms. Moulton?
Yes, it is.
Are you watching that very carefully, Bert?
Yes, I am.
Did you see the car hit it?
I really can't say, Judge.
Could we do it again, please?
I can show you, Your Honor, right when the car hit.
I would like you to do that, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Right here, Your Honor, she hits my truck. Her mirror, you can see her mirror go under my mirror, and it hits my truck. I have some pictures of the damage of her car.
Can I see it, please?
And the damage of my car.
Can I see it, please?
Yes, sir. This is an existing scratch on my truck. These are pictures of the damage that she done to my car. And this is where her mirror scraped my truck.
Because this line is an existing scratch already on his truck, and the rest is where that line.
This
up
line.
There, that line up there is where.
Put on her mirror.
Right.
Show the camera, please. Miss Moten, what I don't understand is, why did you pull forward again? You were clear of his car.
Oh, I put forward because I was trying to make sure I didn't hit his vehicle.
Miss Moten, you were practically clear of his vehicle, and then you pulled forward and you steered right into it.
But that's what it looked like. But
well, that's
on
what it
my
looked
way-
like.
Right.
My eyes weren't deceiving me. That's what it looked like.
Judge Judy, when I poured, we have parking spaces that are pretty tight over there where I am. So when I pulled out, I was pulling out and doing the best that I could to prevent from hitting his vehicle. I still say that I did not strike his vehicle.
You did.
Okay.
You did. But I don't understand
Okay.
why you were pulling out and you were practically clear of it.
Well, I
and
pulled
then you
out because-
pulled back. You pulled forward again. And you came that close to his car the second time. I don't understand that.
Well, I understand it because I was pulling out from my observation of it as far as me backing out. I was backing out to keep from, because you, from looking
Play
at
that
the
again
video.
for me, please. I want to look
Well,
at it
please,
one
from
more
looking
time.
at
Is that a
the-
possibility?
Yeah, looking at the video, it does look that way, but as far as the way
Well,
the
the
vehicle
video
is
doesn't
parked-
lie, Miss Moten.
Well, I'm not saying the video is lying. I'm just saying I didn't strike his vehicle. I didn't do that.
You did.
See, my damage was on my car. That damage she said I put has been there on my vehicle.
Okay, now, you're clear.
From that, it looks clear, but
you were clear the first time you pulled out. You were clear. Then you come back and you go right into his car.
Well, it looks like I went into his car, but
well, it looks exactly like you went into his car,
but
madam, and that's what you did. Can I please see the estimate to have it fixed?
Yes, ma'am. I have two estimates, Your Honor.
Well, how much was the cheapest estimate?
$627, if I'm not mistaken. And I have a rental car reimbursement should be in that stack also.
Well, I'm not paying you for a rental car, sir. Are you his wife?
Girlfriend.
Girlfriend. Do you live together?
Yes, ma'am.
You have a car?
Yes, ma'am.
Drive him around for a day while he has this car fixed. Listen, life is very, very short. You're going to be neighbors for a while. I'm going to suggest that you can either be miserable for the next 20 years or happy for the next 20 years. Unfortunately, you have a very tight driveway. Maybe you can get together and say, listen, I'm going to go into my lawn a little bit and take another foot, make cement out of it, and on the other side we'll do the same thing so we have a little bit more latitude getting in and out. Can you do that?
Well, it has already been done as far as on his side.